Hey guys, it's Hershey with the Sporty Sleeping Podcast here, just to talk about last night's championship games and Friday night's championship games. They were all great, and I'm really excited just to get my 2 cents in. So first, we're going to start with Conference USA here. We have the UTSA Roadrunners versus the West Kentucky University Hilltoppers, and it was a very good game overall. Now, the Hilltoppers struggled in the first half, but were able to find some kind of rhythm into the second half to be able to, make it a 49-41 game at the end. But of course, once they found the rhythm, unfortunately, it was just a little too late. Now, I know I'm going to get bashed for saying this. No, because I am from San Antonio and UTSA is our school, but I have to be biased on this, and here goes. Pretty simple, guys. First half, UTSA was amazing on all aspects for sure. And I was very happy in the first half of the game when UTSA was just mixing offense, mixing defense, special teams. Everything was just great. The Hilltopper safety, Anton Kinsey, said they gave us different kinds of sets. We've seen it before, but they were in a whole lot different variations out there in their formations. They came ready, they came with a plan, and I love hearing that. Now, with that being said, all that is all well and good, but going into the second half, they were very lethargic. The offense was not there. In the end, it came out that no, the defense did just enough to win the games. They had 7 drives of 7+ plays, and they all ended in the touchdown in the first half. Now, they had 7 drives in the second half as well, but only 3 ended in a touchdown. And yes, they were moving the ball, but out of those 7 drives, 4 of them ended in a missed field goal, 2 punts, and a turnover on downs. And that makes me worried moving forward, simply because that a stronger team, or in there when they move into a higher conference, like with Memphis, SMU, Eastern Carolina, could take advantage of that Jekyll and Hyde effect, as I like to call it, and really make it even a closer game. Had WKU found a rhythm a lot sooner, this game would have been a lot different. But UTSA, congratulations still on winning your first conference championship. Now we move back to the Pac-12 championship. This was a very, very good team. Utah against Oregon. There was no game there. It was very good in Utah's aspects. The Ducks had playoff aspiration starting in September when they finally beat Ohio State. It was great, but then they get upset by Stanford, they get upset by Utah, and then come into the Pac-12 championship needing to win, and they end up losing to Utah. The 2 games that they played, to include the Pac-12 championship and the regular season game against Utah, they were outscored 76-17. In both games, the Utah Utes scored 38 points each. Amazing. Now, as for the Utes, they were playing. They could win. They could play against anybody in the country right now. And even though they did have back-to-back losses to BYU and San Diego State, they ended up changing quarterback to Raisin, who once he took over, it was just boom. And even though the Pac-12 championship was his 5th start in the season, that was still great. He played great. Defense played great. It was amazing to see. Now, there was an emotional moment during a break in the second quarter when Utah fans did join Oregon fans in a moment of what they called a moment of loudness, to honor Jordan and Lowe, 2 players from Oregon that had passed away here recently. Jordan died last Christmas from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, while Lowe, who played with Jordan in high school and in Oregon, was then shot and killed at a house party in September. They showed a video tribute of the players, and then fans lit up the stadium with cell phones, flashlights, and cheer. The Utes helped make this moment as highly more memorable, and it was all added onto Lowe's mom, Donna Lowe Stern, served as an honorary captain for the game. Oregon Utes quarterback Raisin stated, "We etched their names in history too." That's what we talked about all year, and we really wanted to get that done. So very, very great, very honorable thing to do, and amazing thing. Now, As far as the Big 12 championship goes here, the Bears season last year ended in a 42-3 horrible loss at home to OSU. They came back this year and said, hell no. Coach Arianda was 4-2 last season, could not get anything done, and we thought Baylor was washed out. They came back in, became Big 12 champions, and not only did they held OSU to 16 points, which was less than their last meeting when the Cowboys did win the game 24-14, but their quarterback hit 17 straight completions, making it a Big 12 championship record. Amazing. As far as the Oklahoma State Cowboys go, quarterback Sanders had 7 interceptions between this game and the last game that they played against Baylor. Now, the first interception was straight to a Baylor defender, which who knows what happened there. The other 2 interceptions in the game, one could argue and say that because they were tipped, they were intercepted. But again, that's neither here nor there. Either ways, they still lost. Now, Oklahoma State was missing their top rusher and their top center, Danny Golduski, and because of that, they only had 40 carries for 70 yards, averaging 1.8 yards per carry. So not having their top center did show. Now, moving on to the MAC, which is another great and very, very interesting story. So, Northern Illinois took on Kent State, and let me tell you, that was an interesting take right there. Last year, Northern Illinois was 0-6, okay? They were washed out, plain and simple. They came back in with 75 players who finished in high school either in 2020 or 2021, meaning that they were freshmen this year or sophomores. That, per records, they are the second youngest roster of the 130 FBS teams this year. The only team that's younger is Navy's roster, which has 99 players of that same school years. So they went with a team of newbies, and they were able to come back and win the game, win the division and the conference. So amazing turnaround there. Moving to the MAC Mountain West Conference, the Utah State Aggies, oh, wow, what a turnaround. Coach Anderson took over the team that went 1-5. It just stimulates coaching change last season that was just horrendous. This group knew the expectations, and although the expectations weren't high, they took it all together and said, we need to win the Mountain West again, and that's what they did, which was their first title since the inaugural year back in 2013. San Diego State, on the other hand, had massive letdown this year, considering how well they were playing throughout the year and all the hurdles that they had to go through, given COVID, injuries, and everything like that. Even with all that, they still produced their first 11-win season in school's 99 years of football competition, which is great, but the playing was abysmal this game. Simple as that. And although people say, well, was COVID an issue? Not in this game. That did not affect any of their starters, at least into this game. So this loss was truly a disappointment in my opinion. Moving on to a little smaller conference, the Sun Belt comes around. The Louisiana Raging Cajuns played out on Saturday, holding the Appalachian State Mountaineers to 0 points in the first and third quarter of the game, and only allowing 7 points in the first half of the game. Now, they did struggle in the fourth quarter, and they did allow the Mountaineers to get some rhythm and come back, but they were able to get it together and actually win the game, which I was very happy with. Now, Appalachian State's Mountaineers struggled in the first half, again, only scoring 7 points and 0 points in the third quarter, but they were able to find a rhythm in the beginning of the third quarter and were able to move the ball down, but as always, it was just too little, too late to win the game. Now, moving on to the SEC. The SEC, guys, come on. If you didn't think Alabama is going to win, you're one of two people. You're either very dumb or a Georgia fan. Simple as that. Come on. Georgia, as great as they were playing, knew that they could not get that monkey off their back, which is called Alabama. And when asked Kirby Smart about whether this kind of loss could really hinder the psyche and the confidence of a team, he repeated back to when Alabama lost to Texas A&M and how that, kind of got their mind back together and said, we need to play better. And although they did went on a run, they think that can happen to them as well. So we'll see. Now, even though coming in, Alabama did have a very little confidence from anybody, which is ridiculous in my opinion. And they had an abysmal performance and a lackluster performance in the Iron Bowl. Offensively, they played great. That offensive line dominated against Georgia's amazing front. And then you got Bryce Young, who had a Heisman performance, in my opinion, and it was just great. I believe that they were going to win, and it was just no doubt in my mind. The AAC, of course, Houston against Cincinnati. Houston had the Bearcats right up against the wall, trailing into the first half only 14-13, but the two crucial plays in the third quarter just killed the Cougars, leading to 21 straight points to the Bearcats. The first one, they had a pass interference that really shouldn't have been, and obviously that turned into points. And the second was an interception that was then turned into points by the Bearcats. Either ways, still a great performance by the Cougars, and had those not interceptions happen, it could have been a much different game. Now, Cincinnati, despite being 12-0, the Bearcats have mostly proven themselves and said, hey, we deserve to be in the top four. Baylor beating Oklahoma State and Alabama beating Georgia did help out their case as well. But what they needed to do was win the AAC, and that's what they did in a dominating fashion. Very happy for them. And, they took care of things the way they needed to do. And very excited to see both Cincinnati and Houston in the Big 12 here coming in the next few years. Now, moving to the Big 10, Michigan finally beats Ohio State and then caps off the regular season by ending their 17-year drought and winning the Big 10 in just 8-day difference. Amazing. The Wolverines played great on offense, defense, special teams, and their linebacker, Kursky, was just amazing. He should be a Heisman finalist, and if not, he should win it, in my opinion. As far as Iowa goes, it was kind of bittersweet. They played really great throughout the season, very gritty football. But in the end, it was just a bittersweet end. The offense struggled, the defense struggled, and, they were just worn down. In the end, the defense wore down with Michigan's just moving the ball up and down the field. They couldn't get off on third down, and the offense couldn't just, communicate to each other and finish off the performance. Moving on to the last game, which is the ACC, Wake Forest versus Pittsburgh. Wake Forest was just not there. The Demon Deacons had a milestone season, getting the highest ranking in program history, number 10 in early November, and then the program's best ever start, 8-0. And because of that, it was truly a special season for them, and they wanted to cap it off with the championship, but unfortunately did not happen. They had no answers for Pittsburgh's quarterback, nor had they answers for the in the defenses. On the offense for the Pittsburgh defense. Now, Pittsburgh should have a Heisman finalist in their quarterback. He has over 4,000 yards. The only one better than him is Bryce Young, but I think he's just making better decisions, better everything, and he should be in New York for the Heisman as a Heisman winner or finalist. Now, the Pittsburgh Panthers had reached the ACC title back in 2018, but again, they lost to Clemson, and then Clemson took over. Now, they're leaving Charlotte as an ACC title winner, which is great and a hell of a performance, and now they're moving on to a very, very good bowl game. Now, keep watch, because here comes the bowl selections, the final CFP rankings, and I can't wait to see what's going on. I think Alabama is going to be number 1, Michigan number 2, Georgia number 3, and Cincinnati number 4. But we'll see. Thanks.